is session number 3 for us, and last time I have sent you one of the assignments for vectors, so we're going to do discussion of some of the questions from that assignment today. But before that, I want to look ahead in some things related to the theory aspects and the formulae. So anyhow, let us start with a quick revision of the very important formula and theorem that we discussed last time, triangle law of vector addition. So let's take a relook at that one, and then we will come back to the discussion of the question set. So we saw in triangle law of vector addition, we saw that given two vectors A and B such that their magnitudes are known to us and the angle between them is also known. So if this angle is theta, so mod A is known to us, mod B or magnitude of B is known to us, and the angle theta is known, then we can find the resultant A plus B by using the formula that magnitude of A plus B is square root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. And the angle made by the resultant is such that tan alpha is B sin theta upon A plus B cos theta. Also geometrically, this result, these two formulae, can be interpreted in terms of the vector triangle, where to construct the vector triangle, what we do is we draw the vectors A and B, but we draw them consecutively or head to tail, or we draw the vector A followed by the vector B drawn from the head of A, so that A and B become the consecutive sides of a triangle at the angle theta in between them. So in this diagram now, the resultant of the two vectors or the sum of the two vectors becomes this thing over here. This becomes the resultant sum A plus B, and this becomes the angle that it's making with the vector A. So the magnitude of the resultant and the angle it is making are given by these two formulae. So this is what we've discussed in the last lecture. This is just a quick recap of that. Now today we'll discuss several types of applications of this which are going to be important. Okay, Karthik, so if this is your first class, then you have to just make sure that you go through the video recording of the previous two classes and also the notes. So just drop me a message on WhatsApp after the lecture and I will send you the link for the recording and the notes for the previous two lectures. You can go through them and then you will catch up with the rest of the class. Yeah, we will discuss all those things. Okay. So next up, we will see some special properties. Okay. So first of all, we have to understand that if theta is equal to 0, that is A and B are parallel vectors, okay, or in the same direction, then see in terms of formula what we understand. In terms of formula, magnitude of A plus B becomes root of A square plus B square plus 2AB, because we know that cos 0 is unity, so it becomes square root of A plus B whole square, and therefore it just becomes A plus B. Okay, so this is one important point, that whenever we are dealing with two vectors which are in the same direction, then the magnitude of the resultant is the sum of the magnitudes. Okay, so for example, suppose we have this situation that we have two vectors A and B, A is of magnitude 10, B is of magnitude 15, let's say, but both of them are along the same angle. Let us say they are at the same angle, theta. Okay. So let us say A and B are displacements, okay, such that A has a magnitude of 10 meters and is along theta equal to 15 degrees north of east. And so from east going towards north by an angle of 15 degrees, and magnitude of B is 15 meters, but it is also along the same direction. B is also along theta equal to 15 degrees north of east. Okay, now we want to find the magnitude of A plus B, okay, and the direction of A plus B. So we can understand, whether we go by the formula based method, mod of A plus B will simply become A plus B, because the angle between A and B is 0, because A is along the same direction as B. Okay, so the magnitude of A plus B in this case will just become 10 plus 15 or 25 meters. Okay, and also the other thing which we can go back here and also check that out first. Okay, that tan alpha, which is B sine 0 upon A plus B cos 0, will become 0. So that means alpha is 0. So alpha equal to 0 means what? That the direction of the resultant, this is also along the same direction. This is also along the same direction as A and B. Okay, so this is what will happen here also. Okay, and this will also be along the same direction of 15 degrees north of east. Now you can understand that this whole result I have just written as a direct application of the previous concept, but we can also understand this visually very easily. Now, if we just add the two vectors A and B like two displacements, so the displacement A would look like this, and then from the head of A I would make the displacement B. So that would be just continuing in the same direction. No? So this would be the displacement A, which is having a magnitude of 10 meters. This would be the displacement B, is having a magnitude of 15 meters. So the resultant of the two is just this net displacement, which you can see is, instead of a triangle, it will be along a straight line only. This will be your resultant displacement. So this is becoming your A plus B, okay, which is going to be 25 meters, and all these are going to be along that same direction. Okay, theta equal to 15 degrees north of east. Okay, so this is the geometry of, okay, geometrically this is what it looks like. So you can visualize this as well as you can understand it by the formula based method. So you can note this down as the first sort of special case of the application of the triangle law formula, which we were discussing earlier. This is the general triangle law formula, But when we apply the special case of theta is 0, or in other words the vectors a and b are parallel, then this is how it reduces. The magnitude of a plus b becomes the magnitude of a plus the magnitude of b, and the direction of a plus b is the same direction as the individual vectors a and b. Okay, so just make a quick note of this special case over here and then the example below. Okay, I'm just coming to that. Yeah, so now in the example you can see that what we are doing is we are implementing this formula based method here first, that the magnitude of a and b is 10 and 15, but their direction is along each other, or the angle between them is 0. So mod a plus b will just become magnitude of a plus magnitude of b, which is 25, which is what we've written down here, this part. Okay, then also that it will be along the direction of a and b, so it will be the same direction, 15 degrees north of east. Okay, now this same result we can also understand visually or geometrically, like I've done below. So if you were to draw the vectors a and b to find their sum, drawing the vectors consecutively would not result in a triangle, no? Because they are along each other. It would just result in a straight line. A and b are going along the same common straight line, so you will not get a triangle, you will just get this kind of a straight line figure, and that is showing you that the resultant will become 10 plus 15, 25 along that same direction of theta equal to 15 degrees north of east. Okay, so hope this example is clear by both the geometrical drawing as well as the application of formulae. Okay. So I'm moving on to the next type of application of triangle law. Okay, please drop me a message in case of any doubts about what we are discussing. Okay, now next thing we will see that if the angle theta between two vectors a and b is an obtuse angle, that is theta is greater than 90 less than equal to 180 degrees, this kind of situation. So for example, we could have one vector along the x-axis like this and another vector like this. So could have a situation where this angle between them, you can see that theta is greater than 90 degrees. Or we could have a situation where vector E is in some arbitrary direction like this, vector B is in some arbitrary direction like this. So the angle between them is greater than 90. Okay, so in either of these cases, when we would draw the vector triangle, first let us look at that, then we will come to how to apply the formula. Okay, so when we would draw the vector triangle here, for example, for this one, we would have to draw the same two vectors, but now consecutively, head to tail. So when I pick up the second vector from the diagram there, it was like this. So I'll have to arrange them like this now. So this is that angle theta from that diagram. And in this diagram now, the resultant of A and B, or the sum of A and B, will become like this. Or if I draw the triangle using the second set of vectors, so this was example 1, so this will be the triangle corresponding to example 1. Okay, now similarly, if I look at this second example and I construct a vector triangle using that, okay, so I'll have to first draw the vector E, which is in this sort of direction, let's say, and then from the head of A I have to draw the vector B. So that will be something like this, let's say. So you can see the angle between them is this one, it is obtuse, it's greater than 90 degrees. Just visually you can see that. I've not given you the value of the angle, but you can just understand that visually. So now the thing is, how are we going to implement the formula to find this resultant? It's all very well that we can draw the triangle, but we should be able to apply the formula, no? So how do we apply the formula to find the two things, that is the magnitude of A plus B and also the angle that A plus B is making with respect to, so both these things we need to find out now, alpha, and we need to find out, okay, so in general that's the next thing we are going to look at, that how to find the magnitude of A plus B and the angle alpha when theta is obtuse like this. Okay, so just make a note of these two diagrams, then we'll discuss about the formula. Okay, so this is the next case of triangle law application that we are discussing about, when the angle is obtuse. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't matter, Twisha, it doesn't matter how the vectors are drawn in the original diagram. We have to basically just construct them into a triangle now. So vectors are always movable. So if one vector is drawn somewhere here like this arbitrarily, another vector is drawn somewhere here arbitrarily, now I ask you to find A plus B. So in any case, you have to pick up these vectors and draw them one after the other. So what you'll have to do here is literally you'll have to pick this vector up, draw it here, and then pick the second vector up and draw it such that this is starting from this one's head. Okay, then in this diagram now you can find out that, okay, the resultant is this one, this is A plus B. So these are the steps you have to implement to find out the resultant of A and B, the sum of A and B. Okay, now of course in the final step you don't actually sit and measure this distance and all that. We use the formula, the triangle law formula, that if I know the magnitude of this line A, if I know the length of this line B, and if I know this angle theta, then I should be able to find out these things without actually drawing the diagram or measuring from the diagram, but by just application of the formula. Okay, so hope the point is clear. So we could also have an example where the vectors are not given to us visually. You could just have an example where given that magnitude of vector A is, let's say, 10 units, magnitude of vector B is, let's say, 20 units, and the angle between them is 120 degrees. This is between A and B. Okay, and now we want to find out this. So here the vectors are not given to us geometrically, so but we can visualize them. Okay, so in this case we can visualize that if we were constructing that vector triangle, suppose vector A is like this, vector B will have to be somewhere like this, because the angle between them is 120 degrees, magnitude of vector A is 10, magnitude of vector B is 20. So when I draw the vector triangle, by drawing A and B consecutively, it will be like this, and in this now this vector will become the resultant. So this is what we now have to find out. Okay. Okay, so in the next thing is in the application of the formula. In the formula, mod of A plus B, root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, since theta is in what we call second quadrant, trigonometrically you would have, okay, we use trigonometry of ASTC rule. Okay, that is when theta is greater than 9, we use the formula from trigonometry that cos theta is minus of cos. Cos is negative quantity in second quadrant, so it is minus of cos 180 degrees minus theta. Sin theta is positive ASTC, so in second quadrant sin is positive. Okay, and tan theta similarly becomes minus of tan 180 minus theta. So these are the trigonometry formulae that we use whenever we are dealing with this situation, that our theta is in second quadrant. So from the ASTC rule we use this set of formulae. So for example, if I want to calculate cos of 120 degrees, so I'll use this formula that cos 120 will become minus of cos 180 minus 120. So it will become minus of cos 60. So in other words, it will become minus half. So these formulae you need to memorize now. Okay, these are the formulae for second quadrant. You might have studied this in trigonometry very recently in the last couple of lectures, may not have studied yet, in which case you will be studying very soon in trigonometry. And also, you know, right now you just memorize these formulae, just remember them, but you will also understand the logic of this formula very soon. We will come to a topic called component algebra of vectors. So when we study that, you will be able to understand how these formulae have come. Right now you just learn how to apply these formulae. Okay, so write down this formulae and we'll do a bit of practice with them, then we'll come back to the triangle law. So for example, find just work out each of these using these formulae. So once you are comfortable with these formulae, you will see that there's no difficulty in the vector application part. Okay, but yes, you need to know these formulae, you need to remember these formulae so that you can apply them directly every time we are in this kind of situation, that the vectors we are talking about are at an obtuse angle to each other. So we want to apply the triangle law. So in that we will need cos theta and we will also need sin theta. Because the second part of triangle law formula, don't forget, is also this, that tan alpha is b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta. So we should be able to apply these formulae, so that's why. Yeah, very good. That's correct, Rupesh. Your first three answers are correct. Twisha, you have to check. No, your answers are correct. Good. Very good. Priya, your answer is correct. Dhruven, you have to give the answers properly. Sine and cos of things, Dhruven, cannot be minus 40 and minus 30 like that. They remember they have to be values between minus 1 and 1. Okay. Yeah, Rupesh correct for the fourth one. So I'm just giving the answers first. Okay. you can all verify. Most of you got this correct. So the first one, the answer will be plus half. You can just write it as half or 0.5 or whatever. Second one, the answer will be minus 1. Third one, the answer will be 3 by 5 with a minus sign, or minus 0.6. And fourth one, the answer will be plus 3 by 5 or plus 0.6 or just 0.6 or whatever. So you can leave the answer this way. So it's very simple. You just apply this formula. Sine 150 will be positive of sine 180 minus 150. Okay. So that's plus half. Similarly, tan 135 will become negative of tan 180 minus 135. So that's minus tan 45. So that's minus 1. Similarly, cos 127 will be by formula negative of cos 180 minus theta. So that is minus cos 53. And cos 53 we had seen last time, that special case. Cos 53 is 3 by 5. So this becomes minus 3 by 5. And similarly the last one, it's that 37 degree case. So sine 37 is the same as cos 53, 3 by 5. So this time it comes with a positive sign. Okay, so this is something you should be practiced at. You should know how to use this. Correct, Vivek. So that's correct. Okay, so now we have to just use this formula in the triangle law. So let us see some examples now where we have to implement this. So for example, let's take that one only which I just saw. Magnitude of A is 10, magnitude of B is 20, and the angle between them is 120 degrees. This is the angle between A and B. So you want to find magnitude of A plus B and alpha. Okay, so you just use the formula mod of A plus B cos theta. Now in this, theta is 120 degrees. So just now we saw cos theta will become minus half, and that is minus cos 60. So that is minus half. So we will substitute. We have to substitute our cos theta with minus half. So that's the thing you have to implement here. So this will become square root of 10 square plus 20 square plus minus half. That is 10 root 3. So magnitude of A plus B in this particular case becomes 10 root 3. But moreover, this is how we implement this. Okay. And apart from this, we also use the formula So from this you can see that sine theta is sine 120, so that will be positive of sine 60. So that will be root 3 by 2. So just substitute that also here. So this is 20 into root 3 by 2 upon 10 plus 20 into minus half. So that becomes 10 root 3 divided by 0. So that becomes an undefined quantity. So now this is very interesting, that if tan alpha is undefined, so that means alpha is how much? It is 90 degrees. So this is the result that we are getting for mod A plus B. and for alpha. Okay. Now we can also verify this geometrically, okay. But just first write down the steps of the formula application. No, it's not necessary to, Twisha, as far as we are concerned, the problem is completed now. We were just asked to find mod a plus b and alpha, and we found that out. So we got the answer. 10 root 3 is the value of mod a plus b, and the angle is 90 degrees. Okay. So as far as we are concerned, the problem is completed. But it's just that we want to understand better how we are getting this result, or what is the interpretation of that. So if we want to do that, then it makes sense to draw the diagram also. So if we draw the vector diagram, now suppose vector A is like this, then vector B will over here have to be like this, so that the sum is becoming perpendicular. So it will just help us verify from the geometry of the triangle that this calculation is correct. So it will just help us show that if this angle is 120, okay, then this internal angle should be 60. And you can see that cos 60 is half. So indeed, when you join this, you will get a right angle triangle. So it's just justifying that this calculation is correct. Because this angle is 60, automatically this angle is becoming, since cos 60 is half, therefore we know that it is a right angle triangle. Okay, and this alpha is equal to 90 degrees. So magnitude of this side should be square root of hypotenuse square minus base square. So that's also justifying that mod a plus b is coming out to be 10 root 3. Same as this. Yes, that's correct, Rupesh. Okay. Okay, so let's do another example of this. So this time magnitude of A is, let us say, 4. Magnitude of B is 20, and the angle between them is 143 degrees. Okay. That is the angle between A and B. Okay, so find magnitude of A plus B and the angle made by the vector A plus B with respect to the vector E. So anybody got the answer for this? Please let me know. Unfortunately not correct, Rupesh. Just try it out again. So first of all, cos of 143 is minus cos 37 is minus 4 by 5. Keep this in mind. Okay. So you have to work out this application. Yeah, Tanisha, correct. Oh, sorry, Twisha, correct. But alpha will be such that tan alpha is negative, Twisha. Okay, so you have to be little careful. The value will not be 45. So this will become how much? 8 into 4 into 4. 128. So this will become square root of 400 minus 112. So that is 288. Okay. So 12 root 2 is fine as the answer. No, that's not okay, no, beta. You have to take the correct value of cos 143 is minus 0.8. It's a precise value, you have to take it. Okay, and then you also have the formula for alpha. Okay, so this will become similarly 20 into 3 by 5 upon 5 plus 20 into minus 4 by 5. So this will become 12 upon 5 minus, oh sorry, 4, not 5. Magnitude of A was 4. Okay, so now you know that tan alpha is minus 1. This implies that alpha is 135 degrees, because tan 45 is 1. So tan of 180 minus 45 is minus 1. So tan of 135 degrees is minus 1. So using that, okay. So this is the complete solution of this question. Please go over it step by step and make sure you understand everything. जस्ट डू द कैलकुलेशन ना बेटा, ये इतना सा कैलकुलेशन तो आप कर सकते हो ना. 2 इंटू 4 इंटू 20 इंटू माइनस 4 बाई 5. जस्ट डू दिस कैलकुलेशन, यू विल गेट. Okay, so hope all the steps are clear. So if you want to understand geometrically how this particular triangle is going to look, it's going to be something like this. Something like this. And the resultant of these two vectors, now as you can see, that itself is also making an obtuse angle. In fact, that obtuse angle is 45 degrees, I mean 135 degrees, and it's of magnitude 12 root 3, sorry 12 root 2. This is what this triangle is looking like. So this inside angle will be 37. But that we can only complete once we have got the information from the formulae. Without the formulae, we have no idea about how to draw this particular triangle, or at least no idea about the third side and the angle. Only the first two sides we have some idea about. Okay, so hope this is clear. Now next thing, next special case we have to see is how to find the resultant of A plus B when A and B are anti-parallel vectors, okay, or opposite in direction, okay, or in other words, theta is equal to 180 degrees, the angle between A and B is this, okay. So if we just want to understand this visually, it's very easy. If A is suppose a vector like this and B is a vector like this, that they are anti-parallel to each other. They are along anti-parallel lines. So when you draw the vector sum, it will just become like this. So you can see that the angle is 180 degrees, and in this diagram now the sum should be the third vector, which is going from the excuse me, from the origin of vector E, that is from the starting point, to the head of vector B. In this case, this would be the resultant. Okay. So anyhow, so how do we justify this in terms of formulae? Okay, so in terms of formulae, what we have to do here is, so in this, cos theta is cos 180, which is minus of cos 180 minus theta. Yes. So that is minus cos 0, which is minus 1. So this is the important thing, that cos 180 degrees is minus 1. So you substitute that over here and you get the formula. Okay. which means that this is magnitude of the difference. Note that a minus b whole square root will be mod of a minus b and not simply a minus b. Okay, so for example, if magnitude of a is 10, magnitude of b is 5, and the angle between them is 180 degrees. So the magnitude of a plus b will just become 5. Okay, but on the other hand, suppose we have a situation like, for example, in this one, suppose magnitude of a is suppose 20 and magnitude of b is 25, then you can see over here that this one will be 5 because this line is 20 and this line is 25, so obviously this one will have to be. So here when we substitute in the formula, if magnitude of a is 20 but magnitude of b is more, it is 25, and the angle between them is 180 degrees, then mod of their resultant will become this. So it should not be written as -5 because remember magnitude can never be a negative quantity. So that's why this mod sign becomes very important. So it becomes 5. And that is this particular example you can see. Okay. Whereas this example would look something different. यहाँ पे if A is 10, A as a vector is of magnitude 10 and now B as a vector is at 180 degrees to it but is of magnitude 5. So now you can see the resultant of A and B here will be this vector. This will be A plus B. And this will also be of magnitude 5. So either of the two can be longer in magnitude, but the mod of A plus B or mod of the resultant will be the magnitude of the difference. It will be mod of difference of A and B's individual magnitudes. Okay, so just make a note down of this special case, that whenever we have anti-parallel vectors, this situation, or theta equal to 180, this situation, we get this result. Okay, so hope this is clear. Now, with this, let us move on to discussion of some of the questions from the first assignment. Okay, so just go through the assignment once and tell me if you have any particular questions that you want to discuss. Right, so let us start with question number 3 then. Okay, I don't think anybody has a doubt in the first two questions. So we will discuss question number 3, then 5, 6, etc. Okay. So let's start with question 3. Yeah, so it's saying that the magnitude of A, B and C are 12, 5 and 13 respectively. So magnitude of A is 12, B is 5 and C is 13, and also it is given to us that A plus B is equal to C. So we have to find the angle between A and B. Okay, so there are two ways in which we can do this question. One is we can take a formula based approach. So we go by the formula based method. Then we can see that C being A plus B, this implies that magnitude of the vector C should be mod of A plus B. So that means magnitude of the vector C should be equal to root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. So now this only is given to us. This is what we have to solve now. So we can further just simplify this like this, that 13 square is plus 120 cos theta in this case. Okay. So we will come to the conclusion that 120 cos theta is 0, which means cos theta is 0, which means that theta is 90 degrees. So this will become my answer. Or we can also do a geometrical approach here. Why the geometrical approach is nice here? Because okay, if given that C is equal to A plus B, okay, and magnitude of A is 12, B is 5, and C is 13. Now we should be mindful of the fact that this is a Pythagorean triplet. Okay, that 13 square is equal to 12 square plus 5 square. So if this point strikes us before we start with the question solving, then it will be very useful, because we can directly see that we are dealing with this kind of a situation. If it doesn't strike us, it's going to be a little tough here, but it strikes us that this being 13, (90 degrees), so you can see that the angle theta between them is 90 degrees. Okay, so in case you haven't worked out this question, just make a quick note of this method. Next we'll move on to question number 5. Okay, let's come to question 5 next. So in question 5, to begin with, what we have is that situation of the carom board. Just a moment. Okay, so this is our carom board. Now one of the coins is sitting at the center here, okay, and we want to pocket it in this corner. Let's say the carom board is PQRS, coin is sitting at the center, which is C. Now what we want is that the coin should rebound from the front. So we should be able to hit a rebound shot, so that the path of the coin, the displacement of the coin, will first be from here to here, then it will rebound, and then it will displace like this, and finally get pocketed here. So this is the situation which we want. Okay, so let's also say that the point at which we have aimed over here is, suppose, T. So now, given that the carom board is 4 feet by 4 feet in dimension, We want to find the magnitude of the displacement from the center to the front surface, then the magnitude of the displacement from the front surface to the pocket. So this line TQ's magnitude we want to find out, and we also want to find out the final displacement, which is nothing but CQ, which is this. These are the three things that we have to find out. Okay, so the concept that we'll use over here is that Okay, so students, I think all of you are logged on. So we'll just resume from where we left. So we're discussing that carrom board problem. So I was going to tell you the concept that we use for solving the geometry of this, and that concept is that we are going to treat the rebound or the collision with the wall in front. The rebound at the point T will be treated like a reflection, like a mirror image reflection. Okay, so the concept is the rebound or impact at the point T on the front side. Okay, this rebound will be treated like a reflection at a plane surface. So that is angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, that concept. Okay, so in other words, we are going to treat the front surface like a plane mirror. Okay, and the incoming path and the outgoing path like an incident ray and a reflected ray at the point P. So this will be just treated like a reflection of light kind of situation, where this angle becomes equal to this angle. Okay, so same way in this diagram now, we will be treating this like a reflection wherein this angle becomes equal to this angle theta. Okay, and further, if we just add a perpendicular from here, from the point C, it is bisecting these sides. Okay, and suppose we label this point on top now, where the bisector meets this. This is a, so suppose we label this point as whatever, U or something. Okay, and this angle is also 90. So now we can just use geometry. We can use the geometry of similar triangles, and we can see that in the above figure, triangle CUT, okay, and triangle QRT, they are similar right angled triangles. So we're going to make use of similar triangle theorem as well as Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so we can see that Cu upon Ut should be equal to QR upon RT. Okay, now we can see that this side will be 2 feet because the whole thing was 4 feet. Okay, and similarly we can see this is 2 feet. Okay, so supposing this is now x, so this should become 2 feet minus x. Okay, so this ratio will now become Cu is 2 feet divided by Ut we have taken as an unknown quantity x. So on the other side, QR we can see is the full side length, it's 4 feet divided by that is now 2 minus x. So if we solve this, we get that 2 minus x is equal to 2x. So x will come out to be 2 by 3, 2 minus x will come out to be 4 by 3 in feet. Okay, so therefore now we can use Pythagoras theorem that CT will be square root of CU squared plus UT squared. So that is square root of 2 square plus x square in the diagram, and x we have just got as 2 by 3. So we will get this as like this. Okay, and we can see that TQ will just become double of CT. So it will become 4 by 3 root 10 feet. Okay, this you can understand from similar triangles. So there are some more options by which you can do this also, but this is an interesting way of solving the problem, and just by using very basic things like similar triangles and Pythagoras theorem. Okay people, so hope this is fully clear. Calculation part you can go through yourself later also. Conceptually the main thing is the application of the similarity of triangles, which is coming from this concept that you are able to treat the collision or the impact like a mirror image reflection. Okay, now next let's come to sixth question. So sixth is actually just about the language of the question. The rest you will just find it easy. So I'll just make the diagram as per the language of the question, and you will see it's quite easy to solve. Okay. So it says that a spy car uh, follows another car such that it moves 2 kilometers towards east. So let us take this as our standard, okay, north, south, east, west kind of directions. So we can just go on drawing the vectors as per the language of the question. So it's first going through a displacement of 2 kilometers towards east. So let us say this is our first displacement S1, which is 2 kilometers. The next up next up it is going through a displacement, uh, it says that it turns left by 90 degrees and goes for 500 meters. So when it turns left by 90 degrees, it will turn from here like this, by 90 degrees. So the second displacement should be like this. And now that second displacement is only of 500 meters, so it's 0.5 kilometers. Okay, that is our second displacement S2, let's say. And then again it makes a 90-degree turn, but this time towards the right, isn't it? So made a perpendicular right turn. So now from this direction it makes a 90-degree turn like this. Okay, and ends up making the third displacement. Let's say we're showing it like this, and now that third displacement is of 4 kilometers. So it's quite a bit longer like this. Let's see. 4 kilometers. Okay, so now we have to find the net displacement, the magnitude of the net displacement. So we have to find this, where S net is the sum of S1 plus S2 plus S3. So in the diagram you can clearly see that the net displacement, how we will find it, we'll find it by the definition of net displacement, that it is the vector joining from the initial position to the final position. So initial position कहाँ पे था उसका, where it started the movement from, that is the origin of S1, and final position it ends up here where the head of the third displacement is S3. So this is our net displacement. Now, in the diagram this should be our net displacement. Okay, so for that we can just drop a perpendicular here, because we're only dealing with two such directions. We can see that the magnitude of the net displacement will become square root of the base, which is 2 plus 4, that's 6 kilometers square, plus the perpendicular, which is 0.5 kilometers square. So that is 36 plus 0.25. Okay, so it's square root of 36.25 kilometers. This is the magnitude of the net displacement. You can leave the answer this way, or we can do a bit of approximation calculation also if you like, but the answer key, it will be given to you like this only. If you round it off up to second place of decimal, it will come out like this. So again, this is very straightforward question. You have to just make sure that you understand what the question is saying in terms of language. Okay. Next up, I think we are going to the ninth question, or does anybody have a doubt before ninth question? Because I got logged out, I've missed the messages. So does anybody have a doubt before question number 9? Just let me know, otherwise I'll solve question 9 next. Okay, so if you finish with this question, yeah, Vivek, let's come to question number 9. So ninth is the only question which has a bit of lengthy solving in this one. So it says that R is the resultant of two vectors P and Q. Okay, whereas S is the resultant of P plus minus of Q. So like this. Okay, and then we have to prove that magnitude of R square plus magnitude of S square is 2 times P square plus Q square. Okay, so there are a couple of ways we can do this. One is that you can just interpret this geometrically. So if you just interpret this geometrically, suppose this is the vector P, okay, and this is the vector Q, and the angle between them is theta. Okay, now what will be the vector minus Q? So you have to understand that the vector minus Q is a vector opposite in direction to the vector Q and of same magnitude. Okay, so mod of minus Q is mod of Q only. Okay. So in this diagram now, if I want to draw this vector, it will become this one, like this. Okay. So this will be the vector minus Q. Its magnitude will be the same as the magnitude of this one, Q, but the direction will be opposite. Okay. So this angle now you can see, this will become 180 minus theta. Okay, so now let us concentrate on this. So directly we can get from formula that magnitude of R is root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Okay, and the corresponding vector triangle for their sum will look something like this. That you took the vector P, to that you added the vector Q. Okay. And this angle being theta, the resultant for you became this. This is the vector R, and by formula this is the magnitude of R now. Okay. But now what about S over here? How will we get S? Okay, so for that we have to add the vector P with the vector minus Q. Okay, so when we construct that particular vector triangle, it will look like this. You first draw the vector P the way it was only. Okay, but now to this, instead of adding the vector Q, you are adding the vector minus Q. So we have to construct the vector minus Q consecutively from P, that is after, from the head of P we have to draw this vector minus Q. So that will look like this over here. That will be a vector of magnitude Q, but such that the angle it is making is, let us say, beta, where beta is 180 minus theta. Whatever that angle was is the complement of that. Okay, so now the resultant of these two is our vector S. So the vector S that we are looking for in this diagram is going to be this one. This is the vector S, which is the resultant of P plus of minus Q. this vector. Okay, so how we'll find the magnitude of S? We will just use that same formula, triangle law formula. So magnitude of S will become square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos of beta, because now the angle between p and minus q is beta. S is p plus of minus q. So the mod of p is obviously p, but more importantly the mod of minus q is q. So you are substituting accordingly. So understood, na? So you are substituting these two things and this thing over here. Okay. So this is becoming root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos of 180 minus theta. And just today we've learned that cos of 180 minus theta should always be substituted as minus cos theta. Okay, so this becomes root of p square plus q square minus 2pq cos theta. This is S. Okay, so this is our second equation, whereas this one here was our first equation. Now if you just compare these two equations, square and add them, you will understand very easily how to solve this question finally. Okay, so just try to minimize this a little more so you can see the whole thing. Yeah. So now you just square and add equation 1 and 2 and you will get your required proof. Okay, so just make a note of this. This is an important question. No, Rupesh, proof questions will not be asked in JE, because it's all MCQ format. Okay, but then the options will be there, no? So you have to select the correct option like that. So if you take equation 1 square, you're getting r square is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Whereas if you take equation 2 and square it, you are getting s square is p square plus q square minus 2p cube cos theta. So now just add these two equations. So left hand side you will get r square plus s square, right hand side you will just get 2 times p square plus q square, hence proved. Okay, so if there was this was a question in your JE pattern, there would be options, and one of the options would be this one. So you have to select the correct option because it's all multiple choice type questions. So hope this is clear, people. Any other doubt in this exercise, question 10 or any other question? Okay, good. Okay, so with this we complete today's lecture, and I'll be sending you the notes along with another worksheet, exercise number 2. So now one thing which is very important for us and I want to discuss is that each of the assignments you're solving, you have to submit the assignments in the Google Drive which you have been allotted. You would have received the details of a Google Drive account in your particular group, right? Foundation Builder group. So what you have to do is you have to take a scan or just a normal picture from a mobile phone camera or whatever tab camera of the working that you have done for the assignment. Okay, and then submit those into the Google Drive so that we can verify them. Okay, so make sure that you do it for exercise 1 and also assignment 1, and also in this week you solve assignment 2 so that you are ready to submit it after the discussion with me next time. All right, so that's it for today's lecture, people, and all the best till we meet the next time.